What if I told you that the most valuable decision you can make as a teenager has nothing to do with choosing the perfect college, starting a side hustle, or even getting your first job? The truth is simpler and far more powerful. If you want to succeed in business, in investing, or in any pursuit that involves strategy, growth, and long-term thinking, then you need to master the language of business. That language is accounting. It may not sound glamorous. It's not flashy like marketing, nor adrenaline pumping like entrepreneurship videos on TikTok. But behind every wise decision in the business world, there's someone who knows how to read the numbers, how to follow the trail of money, performance, efficiency, and growth. Accounting is the code. Learn to read it, and the game changes. Imagine being able to walk into a room, open a company's financial statement, and within minutes understand the health of that business better than most of the employees inside it. That's what accounting gives you. It teaches you not just how money moves, but why it moves, what works, what fails, and most importantly, what's sustainable. But it doesn't stop there. Understanding accounting is about more than business. It teaches you how to think. It sharpens your ability to analyze, to see patterns, to detect inconsistencies. It's like training your brain to see the full picture when others are stuck looking at just the colors. And when you combine that skill with curiosity and effort, you become someone who's not just employable. You become indispensable. Now, let's be real. Most people don't want to study accounting. They want shortcuts. They want virality. They want dopamine hits. But the most successful people in the world didn't get where they are by chasing every shiny object. They built solid foundations. They mastered timeless skills. And they stayed patient while everyone else sprinted in circles. As a teenager, you're in the golden zone. You're old enough to understand complex concepts, but young enough to still build habits without deep unlearning. You're not yet tied down by debt, family obligations, or career pressure. That means this is a perfect time to invest in your education. Not the formal kind, but the kind that compounds. So where do you begin? Start with online courses. Many are free. Watch videos from people who've actually built businesses. Find resources on YouTube, Coursera, edX, or Skillshare. Don't worry if it feels confusing at first. It's supposed to. Mastery comes from persistence, not perfection. At the same time, get your hands dirty. Find part-time work, even if it feels unrelated. Bag groceries, work retail. Intern at a local company. Observe how things operate. Where's money being made? What do customers complain about? What do good managers do that bad ones don't? Every shift becomes a lesson if you pay attention. Exposure to different business models will teach you what no textbook can. You'll start to understand why some businesses are cutthroat and others thrive quietly, why certain products sell themselves and others require massive ad budgets. You'll start to notice pricing strategy, product placement, customer retention tactics. These are not just details. They are the DNA of every successful operation. And here's the magic. The more you learn, the more connections you'll make. Reading about investments will make more sense when you understand how companies generate profits. Business news will stop sounding like noise and start sounding like strategy. You'll find yourself predicting trends, asking deeper questions, and realizing that most people never look below the surface. But if you want to truly get ahead, there's another lesson you can't afford to ignore. Start saving money now. I'm not saying you need to be frugal to the point of misery. What I'm saying is that the habit of saving, of paying yourself first, builds discipline. And discipline is freedom. Every dollar you save as a teenager has more power than a dollar you save later. Why? Because it has time to grow. It can be invested. It becomes a seed that blossoms into options later in life. Let's say you save $1,000 by the time you're 18 and invest it with a modest return. By retirement age, that could be worth over $20,000, even without adding a single dollar. Now imagine if you save and invest consistently from now through your 20s. That's how people build real wealth, not by sudden windfalls, but by steady, strategic decisions. And beyond the numbers, saving teaches you to delay gratification. That's a rare superpower in a world built on impulse. The people who succeed in business, investing, and even relationships are usually the ones who can trade what they want now for what they want most. I was fortunate. I didn't have to pay for my education. that allowed me to save nearly everything I earned during my teenage years. Those savings didn't just grow financially. They gave me freedom. Freedom to take risks, to invest early, to build without desperation. Now, not everyone will have the same starting point. That's okay. It's not about how much you save. It's about building a mindset that prioritizes long-term value over short-term pleasure. Once you lock that in, you'll start making different decisions. Reading instead of scrolling, asking questions instead of pretending to know, thinking before buying. And that leads me to something else, the power of conversations. Talk to business owners. Ask your uncle how his company works. Ask your neighbor what their job really involves. If you meet someone who owns a cafe, ask what their biggest challenge is. People love talking about what they know, and if you listen closely, you'll pick up wisdom you can't find in books. Every interaction becomes an education. Every story becomes a case study. And if you're someone who absorbs knowledge wherever it appears, you'll be decades ahead of your peers by the time you hit your 20s. But here's the kicker. You won't see the rewards immediately. You won't get applause for reading financial reports. No one will cheer when you choose to invest instead of buy new shoes. But over time, something powerful happens. You'll become the person people look to for answers. The one with stability, clarity, and vision. And let me tell you, that's worth more than likes, clout, or temporary trends. So before you click off this video or move to the next distraction, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what if I actually applied this? What if I started today? If something in this message sparked a thought or shifted your mindset, don't let it pass you by. Drop a comment and share what you're thinking. It might help someone else reflect too. And while you're here, make sure you're subscribed. You might be surprised how many people watch these videos without realizing they've never hit that button. Join the community and let's grow together, one smart step at a time. Now that you've seen how powerful a foundation of accounting and business exposure can be, let's talk about mindset, the internal engine behind every successful entrepreneur, investor, or leader. Because truthfully, what separates those who dream from those who build is not just knowledge, but the way they think about risk, opportunity, and time. To think like an investor, even before you have capital, you have to adopt a mental framework built around long-term thinking, patience, and clarity. Teenagers often live in a world of immediacy. Social media trains you to expect instant feedback, instant results, and instant gratification. But the most valuable outcomes in life rarely come instantly. They are earned slowly through repetition, resilience, and time. One of the most important traits of successful investors is the ability to look at today with tomorrow in mind. When you learn to delay gratification, whether that's saving instead of spending, reading instead of scrolling, or investing instead of consuming, you're building the same mental muscles that Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, and other greats have cultivated for decades. Imagine this. You're 17 years old and decide to save just $5 a day instead of spending it on something temporary. That's $150 a month. Invested wisely over time, that small daily habit could turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time you retire. But more important than the money is the mindset behind it. You're proving to yourself that you can make conscious decisions today that shape your tomorrow. This mindset doesn't just apply to finances. It's how you approach everything. When you study even when you don't feel like it, when you keep showing up after failing, when you prioritize building skills over chasing comfort, you're investing in yourself. And those are the best investments you will ever make. So, what should you be reading and learning if you're serious about your future? Start with biographies of people you admire. Learn from the lives of those who built something from nothing. Study how companies were started. Watch interviews. Read about economics and human behavior. Success is never random. It leaves a trail. And your job is to follow that trail, adapt it to your life, and move forward with intention. And don't be fooled by what the internet tells you about success being fast or easy. Most people who look rich online are not wealthy. True wealth is quiet. It's a young adult who owns assets instead of chasing trends. It's the person who controls their schedule instead of trading time for every dollar. And that begins with building a strong inner compass, one that's not shaken by hype, peer pressure, or fear. Let's talk about business intuition, because this is something most schools won't teach you, but it's critical. Business intuition is your sense of what makes something work or fail. It grows when you expose yourself to real problems and real solutions. That's why part-time jobs, internships, or even helping out in small family businesses can teach you so much. You start to see patterns. You notice how people interact with products. You see what makes customers loyal or frustrated. That's data, real-life, actionable data. From that, you develop your own internal framework. You start to see opportunity where others see noise. You begin thinking, how could this be done better? What's missing here? Why do people keep coming back to this brand? That's the investor's eye. That's the beginning of strategy. And here's a powerful truth. You don't need money to become wealthy. You need a wealthy mindset first. People who win the lottery often go broke because they were never taught how to think like investors. But someone who starts with nothing, who learns to think like an owner, who masters the art of discipline, that person can turn a few $100s into a fortune. So, train your mind. Stay curious. Ask why things work, not just how. And when you see someone successful, don't envy them. Study them. What did they do differently? What did they ignore? What did they double down on? And where did they fail? There's another layer here. 2, self-awareness. Know your strengths. Know what excites you and what drains you. Not everyone is meant to start a company, but everyone can think like a leader. Maybe your gift is communication. Maybe it's creativity, numbers, systems, empathy. The world needs all of it. The goal is to develop yourself so deeply that whatever path you take, you'll have the skills and mental strength to excel. And while we're here, let's talk about why so many people never reach their potential. It's not because they're lazy or lack talent. It's often because they follow the crowd. They do what everyone else is doing, even when it doesn't align with who they are or what they want. Success requires intentionality. It's about choosing the harder right over the easier wrong. It's about setting goals and reverse engineering the steps to get there, one habit at a time. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to start walking in the direction of your future. Every step counts. Every habit compounds. And every day is a new opportunity to get closer to the person you're becoming. Oh, and while you're building your inner empire, remember this: we grow faster together. If anything you've read so far made you reflect, feel inspired, or want to take action, share your thoughts below. Tell us what resonated with you. Maybe your insight will spark someone else's journey too. By now, you've seen how learning the fundamentals of business, thinking like an investor, and cultivating discipline can radically change the course of your life. But there's one more layer that often goes unnoticed, and it's what ties all of this together: the power of habits, vision, and consistency. Let's start with habits. Most of what we achieve in life isn't the result of huge, dramatic decisions. It's the compound effect of tiny daily actions. Waking up early to read instead of staying up late for another episode. Choosing to save a little instead of spending impulsively. Practicing patience instead of reacting emotionally. These choices don't seem like much in the moment, but over time, they shape your identity. You're not just building a future. You're building who you are. And the most powerful tool you have is repetition. That's how confidence grows. That's how mastery is formed. Warren Buffett didn't become who he is because of one big investment. He became who he is by making hundreds of thoughtful, strategic decisions over decades based on habits he cultivated early in life. As a teenager, you are in the perfect position to create those habits now. Your brain is still in its most plastic, adaptable state. That means you can rewire it faster than most adults can. The decisions you make now can put you years ahead of the average person in your 20s and 30s, but only if you're intentional. Now, let's talk about vision. What does success actually look like for you? It's easy to fall into the trap of chasing someone else's definition. Fame, cars, luxury. But real success? It's living a life that feels aligned. It's waking up with energy. It's knowing that what you're doing matters. That your time is being invested, not just spent. Take time to define your version of success. Write it down. What kind of life do you want to create? What does your perfect day look like? What would make you proud at the end of your life? These questions matter more than any exam because they'll shape your direction long after school is done. And once you have that vision, guard it. The world will try to distract you, rush you, and tell you that you're behind. But remember, most people are running fast in the wrong direction. You don't need to be the fastest. You just need to walk with intention. Stay consistent. Keep learning. Keep refining. Keep showing up, even when no one's watching. Because here's the truth. People rarely rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their systems. Meaning, no matter how big your dreams are, if your daily structure doesn't support them, you'll stall. That's why habits matter. That's why routines are powerful. They turn desire into momentum. Let's go even deeper. Learn to think in decades, not days, not even years. When you stretch your perspective into the long term, everything shifts. You stop comparing yourself to people's highlight reels. You stop rushing results. You begin to make decisions based on your future self, not your current feelings. Think about the person you want to be at 30. What do they know? How do they carry themselves? What skills do they have? Then start becoming that person today, in small steps. You're not pretending, you're preparing. And preparation is everything. The most successful people you admire, they were preparing for moments long before they were recognized. They practiced in silence. They read when others partied. They sacrificed comfort for growth, not because they had to, but because they knew who they were becoming. That's your superpower too. You get to choose your path, moment by moment. You get to decide what you consume, what you ignore, what you focus on. You get to shape your mind into a tool that works for you, not against you. And when you do that, everything else becomes easier because you're not chasing success. You're becoming someone who naturally creates it. Let's wrap up with one of the most underrated advantages you can build: emotional intelligence. Learn how to manage your emotions, how to communicate clearly, how to lead with empathy. These traits aren't just soft skills. They are power multipliers. They build trust, open doors, and deepen your ability to navigate the world. People will remember how you made them feel more than anything else. So invest in your character. Speak with honesty. Act with integrity. Be reliable. These things compound faster than you can imagine. And if you ever feel like you're behind, remember this: the game is long. You don't need to peak in your teens or your 20s. You just need to keep growing, one intentional step at a time. Play the long game, and you'll win in ways that matter. We've covered a lot in this series, from learning accounting and business, to investing mindset, to building habits and vision. But all of it points to one truth: you have more power over your future than you think. So use it wisely. Start small, start now, and don't stop. And before you move on to your next video or scroll past this, take a breath and reflect. What part of this conversation landed deepest for you? Share below. Your thoughts could help someone else connect the dots. And while you're here, check if you're subscribed. Many people who enjoy these insights don't realize they're not. Hit that button and turn on notifications. That way, we'll keep building together, one step, one mindset, one habit at a time.